In this video, we'll talk about how to find scholarly sources for your second paper in ADJ103. I'm Dawn Emsalem. I'm the library director and your librarian liaison for ADJ. And if you have questions after this video, you can Google Dawn Salve Library and you'll find my email address. What are we going to do today? We're going to first talk about a research strategy for your broken windows paper, and we're going to talk about how to figure out search words that we can use to get closer into the information that you're looking for. We're also going to actually talk about how to find sources for your paper, and you're going to actually find sources for your paper, practicing using the library's EBSCO host databases and the library's book search. At the end of this video, you're going to do an activity and you'll be able to email yourself the results of that activity, so you'll actually have sources to get started with for your paper. So the first thing to do is to look very closely at your assignment. And so your professor wants you to do a literature review and analyze the theory of broken windows over its history. So your professor is going to give you 2 sources, and then you have to find 3 more, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. So if we're going to craft a research strategy to do this assignment, we need to ask 4 questions. One is, what information is required? And your professor doesn't want you to just go on Google and find web pages about broken windows theory. Your professor wants you to find scholarly analysis of your topic. And the types of sources that you're going to find this scholarly analysis is in scholarly articles and scholarly books or book chapters. And the search tools that we're going to use are the library's article search, or EBSCO host databases, and the library's book catalog. And these are a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn how to use them, it's much easier to find articles and scholarly works in there than it is on Google. So it's worth figuring out. And then the other question is, which search words or phrases will we try? So we're going to be using, obviously, the term broken windows, but we may find that we need to add words or other concepts like names or cities, and these can kind of change the kinds of articles that it brings back. And also, you may find that trying these words, different words and different search tools, bring back different types of results. So words that worked in the article search may not work the same way in the catalog, and so you're just going to change it up and keep trying different things in each tool. And that's because different tools have different ways of searching. We call them in a search algorithm in computer science. And in Google, you can type all the words you want, such as, how did the theory of broken windows policing develop over time? If you type that in Google, you're going to find stuff. You're going to find web pages, not necessarily what your professor is looking for. In EBSCO, it searches differently, so you have to be more careful about the types of words that you choose. And usually it's the most significant nouns. So broken windows, policing, and maybe theory or development. You can try different things to see how they work in EBSCO and the library catalog. And the point of this article, of this assignment, is for your professor to allow you to sort of examine this theory over time. And that is what you're really looking for, is the scholarly conversation. So scholars and practitioners have looked at broken windows and its impact and its effectiveness and where it works and where it doesn't. And they've published articles, and those articles represent the scholarly conversation about broken windows policing. And you can see how it changes from 1982 to present. And in order to get going with this research, there's a few terms we need to understand. One is a database. Librarians refer to databases all the time. In non-library land, it's just simply a way to organize information and so that it can easily be searched. In library land, the information that's being organized are journal articles and sometimes ebooks. So they're all organized sometimes according to subject. So there may be nursing databases or education databases or administration of justice databases. The database we're going to search is searching all of those databases at once. So we're using EBSCO and the library's article search, and we're going to search all over all of the databases. References or citations are an author referring to the other authors that that author is using. So like if somebody is referring to somebody else's theory or research, they will say this person said this, and then they'll tell you where you can find where that person said this, usually a scholarly article or book. So the reader can go back and find that scholarly article or book and see what exactly that author said. Peer review is something that we find only in scholarly sources, and it's when an author will send an article or book to the editor or publisher, and the editor or publisher sends it out to other experts in that specific topic, and those experts read the article or book and pass judgment on it, say where it needs to be improved before it can be published. And so the other thing is, since we're looking in scholarly journals, we're going to talk a little bit about what characteristics there are of scholarly journals. So in terms of the subject matter, it's really specific, often original research findings. So somebody does a study on how broken windows policing worked for these types of crimes in New York City during this time period with maybe this population, and they publish those findings. It's very narrow, so it's not going to be a scholarly journal article is not going to give you a broad overview of a topic. It's going to give you a very laser focused count of some aspect of that topic. The audience is students like yourself who are learning about a topic, a subject matter, but also scholars and researchers, and sometimes professionals like, a police chief may be interested in keeping up with the data on a particular type of policing approach and may read scholarly journals. The author are pretty much always scholars, or people who are expert in the field. And the language, to be completely frank, is pretty hard to understand. So don't feel discouraged when you first start reading them. They're difficult, but over time in your field, you'll get used to reading them and you'll understand more about what the concepts the authors are referring to. It gets easier. You just keep trying. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to hop over into the library's homepage, which you can get to by Googling Salve Library. The links to all of the search tools we're using are going to be in your online activity, but just know that Google Salve Library and you'll get here. To look for books, this book tab is automatically highlighted when you go to the Salve Library webpage. And if we type in broken windows into the book search, you want to use few words as possible when you search in the book search, because that's what it prefers. It's picky that way. You'll see that the first book that comes up, there's a few things that are important. One is that it was published in 2007, so time is really important to Professor Joyce. So when you're looking at this topic, so in 2007, this is what people were thinking about this topic. This one's from 96, so that's pretty early. This one's from 99, so it hasn't, again, the broken windows policing hasn't been around that long at this point. And so far, we're seeing all ebooks. If you wanted to make sure you were only seeing ebooks, on this left-hand side here, you could choose to limit to ebooks right here. If you were in your room in your PJs and you didn't want to come take books off the shelf in the library, you could just choose ebooks. The next thing I want to show that's in your activity is that you can share this book, the link to this book, by clicking, or you can find the link by clicking on share, and then copy this link right here. So copy the link. That's how you find the link to the back to this book. To cite the book in APA format, which Professor Joyce would like you to use, you click on Cite, and then you can select APA 7 and copy that, and copy and paste it. And if you have grabbed the URL, you can insert it right here. when we get into the ebook, you click on View Ebook, and you can read it online. And the nice thing about ebooks is that you can see the content, so each chapter right here. If you click on it, you can get through here. And you can also navigate from page to page by clicking in here. You can download a chapter or open a PDF here, or even print a selected number of pages according to copyright. And the other really important thing is that if you're doing a search, like if you wanted to see what's happening in Boston, how much this book talks about Boston, for example, you find out not much. So it highlights where it showed up here and here. And if you click this little down arrow, it shows you where it occurred. You can also, cities are good, people's names are good. So if you're looking for William Bratton, who was a figure, a law enforcement figure who was active during this period, you can see where his name showed up. And there are different ebook publishers, so you'll see different looking publishers, but they mostly have the same types of options. So this is Hein Online, for example. You can view the PDF or download the thing. You can get your permalink right there, your link to the thing, and again, you can click on your chapters right here. And if you are searching for something within, this actually doesn't work to search within this book, but you can download the PDF of that section and do open it, and then you can do Control or Option F and look for broken windows, and it comes up you can see where it comes up. So now what we're going to do is look at articles. So we have the book tab. Now we're going to click on articles, and we'll try our search for broken windows again and see what happens. And so this is entering our EBSCO databases. We can see right off the bat that we had 4,371 results. And if we scroll down, we can see that there's another term, broken windows policing, which we didn't add. So we may decide that we want to try that word and see if that changes us from 4,371. And in fact, if we do that, it does. It takes us down to 711 results. Now, you also see that 1994 to 2022, you can change the dates here. So if you really only wanted to look at, say, the last 5 or 6 years, you can use the date slider there. And if you click on, for example, this article here, we can see actually that it's from 2016, and you can click on it. And two important things. If you want to link back to this article, do not use this link right here. It has what we call a session ID in it, so it's SID, which is connecting the date and time and place that you accessed it, and it won't ever work again. To find the link, you click on permalink right here on the side, this little chain thing, and you can copy and paste it. You can also cite right here, and that will give you your APA citation. If you scroll down, you can copy that into your paper. So this is how you get back to this article. And if you click on PDF full text, you can download this PDF. And again, the little link is right there, and the citation is right there. So with that, you can go off and start your activity.